What is up, Chargers fans? Thank you for joining me. You're watching Bolts Up with Ernesto Vega, and I'm your host. Today we're going to be talking about a couple different things, a little bit of, preseason, a little bit of media talk, a little bit of fan numbers at this last StubHub Center game. First thing I want to talk about, even though it really has no business even being discussed, but preseason. And I know what you're thinking, preseason? Why are you talking about preseason? Well, everybody wants to talk about preseason apparently and how screwed the Chargers are after week one preseason, probably the most meaningless preseasons games of all the preseasons. But since everybody else wants to give their take on it, I'm going to give you a little bit of my take on it. Obviously, there's going to be a little bit of bad, a little bit of good, but I think you're going to like how I feel about the whole situation. First of all, why does everybody think that just because there was only 21,000 fans at the StubHub Center that the Chargers are doomed and that their fight for LA is over before it even began? Like, literally nobody wants to give us a chance. Nobody in the media wants to give us a chance. The ex-fans don't want to give us a chance. And, man, I guarantee you Raider fans, Rams fans are just sitting on every single thing that the Chargers do just so they could take a big old fat dump on top of it. So one of the things that they say is, for one, I keep getting random number counts on how many Seahawk fans were there compared to how many Chargers fans were there. And to me, that really doesn't matter because, one, California is probably the number one in transport fans. You're getting people from all over the country coming to California. And so, yeah, there's going to be tons of people that want to see, that move from Seattle or have family in Seattle or have some type of origin with Seattle, and they're going to be at that game. Just like there's going to be Cowboys fans at pretty much every game. There's going to be Raiders fans at pretty much everybody's game. There's just specific teams that you will see a big number of fans at, and especially because of how good Seattle has been doing in the last 5 years or so. So of course that's a given. That's going to happen. You're going to have a bunch of fans that want to show up. But to me personally, I was there, and it didn't seem more than 300, 500 max to me. Now some people say that there was more. It didn't feel like that, and we were in a pretty small venue, so if it didn't feel like that, then, I could be wrong, but prove me wrong otherwise. Don't give me some, words that you heard. I want to see statistics if you're going to make those types of claims. Now back to that, the first part, 21,000. You're talking about a stadium that only fills about 27,000 fans, maybe a little closer to 28, with the new renovations and putting in more seats. But you're talking about a very small venue, and because of that, you're going to have very high prices, including preseason. People are trying to make their money back, which I don't agree with. People are trying to make an extra buck, which I don't agree with. I think if you're going to buy season tickets, you should be going to the games. And if you're not going to go to the games, you should be selling to fellow fans. And if you're not going to sell, then give them away. Most people don't like to hear that, but give them away. I would rather do that. If I was a season ticket holder, I would rather give my tickets away for free and let my seat be filled if I can't be there than to go ahead and leave it empty or give it to another opposing fan. Now, obviously, there's your exceptions. If you got a freaking best friend that's a Raiders fan, I hate to say it, but bring that person along. But otherwise, you just have tons and tons of fans, and some aren't even fans. Some season ticket holders aren't fans. I know plenty of season ticket holders that aren't fans of football, period. They just like selling tickets and making that extra money. But that's why you have the issues that you have with the StubHub Center. Another reason, like I said, it's a smaller venue. So on average, you're going to have, especially for a preseason game, a game that doesn't mean anything, you're not going to have most fans that are going to want to pay $200 at face value or $255 at face value or $135 at face value that are going to want to come and buy a game to a game that doesn't mean anything. For me personally, I would rather buy my tickets for regular season games, because to me those are going to be the ones that are real. Those are going to be the ones that I get to see, great play and all that. But I mean, as you saw, what if you would have paid $150 to watch this last preseason game? I'm pretty sure you'd be kind of pissed. You could have bought a $150 ticket to a Miami Dolphins game that's coming up. That's the first time that the Chargers are going to play a regular season game at home. So I understand why it wasn't full. And then, like I said, again, it's a smaller venue. If you have a 70,000 stadium, seated venue, you're not going to get all 70,000. You're going to get a percentage of those fans that aren't going to come because, like I said, it doesn't mean anything. And most people don't get that, and I don't understand why people don't get that, or they just choose not to get that because they want to have ammo against the team, or they want to, be able to say some crap. But you have to take different factors into consideration when you're talking about anything, and that's including stadium fan come out. Everybody's saying that, Dean Spanos is freaking out because no one came, and it's like, dude, what do you expect? You had a 70,000 seat venue at Qualcomm last year, and only about 50,000 people came out. So that means there was about, a 20% lack, or 25% lack of seats being filled. So if you look at the StubHub Center, it was about 20% of the seats that were not filled. I guarantee you have a 60,000 seat stadium, a 70,000 seat stadium. There's no way there would have been only 21,000 people. There's no way. It wouldn't have happened. When does that ever happen to any team ever? And, you might want, if you're an opposing opinionator, you probably, just talk crap and say that, oh, it's because of the Chargers. The Chargers would have that amount. But no. You have 60,000 people in a stadium, more than likely tickets aren't going to be nearly as much. You could probably get one for, you're looking at the Rams. I got mine for $10. $10 a ticket for the Rams. You honestly think that if people were selling $10 tickets to the Chargers that they wouldn't be going, even 40, even 50? Like, come on. It's common sense. That's what it comes down to. But enough of that. That doesn't matter. That doesn't determine the success of the Chargers. I don't care if there's only 1,000 people in that stadium. If the Chargers are winning, that's all that matters to the people that are sitting in those seats. That's all that matters to the fans that have been waiting for a long time to see this team do well and become a contender again. So to me, the stadium, seat count and the fan count is irrelevant. Has nothing to do with anything. I know people that are diehards that, can't go or live somewhere else or live too far away. So if at all the count matters, wait until the regular season. Wait until people, can't even, barely get enough people in there, 30,000 people. How much you want to bet if things get real and people start really wanting to buy seats, they don't start adding more? Don't be surprised. But yeah, winning is everything. Winning is all that matters. It doesn't matter if there's a bunch of people, and the people that are there are probably more diehard than any fans that go to any other stadium. This team, this fan base, everybody in the Chargers organization has been dealing with nonstop just barrage of hate, barrage of diss talking, and I don't really mind that from opposing fans. That's normal. Everybody does that. I do that. I'm probably one of the worst people to talk to about the Raiders because I'll just go off on a rant. But to me, it's the ex-fans and it's the media, and most of the media that write it are ex-fans. So you're getting a lot of just, no one giving the Chargers a chance. Nobody allowing them to go ahead and just try to make this run. When the Rams came back, everybody, invited them back with open arms. Why hasn't it been like that with the Chargers? Some might say it's Dean Spanos' fault, but Dean Spanos as much as he is the owner, to me, he has no bearing over the team. He has no bearing over the players. He has no bearing over the Bolt. He has no bearing over any of it. He did not make the team. His name and his blood didn't go into the Chargers, period. He may own the organization, he may have bought it, but to me that doesn't dictate how I feel about my team. And if he, sells the team and we have another owner, it's going to be the same thing. Unless you get like a Jerry Jones type guy where he just in love with the team and in love with, the business of it all, I don't really care about Dean. So that doesn't matter to me when you ask me if I'm going to continue to be a fan. I care about our history as Chargers fans. I care about the players that came before us. I care about the people that are still hanging on and are still staying fans regardless of all the heat, regardless of all the conflict. To me, it just makes everything better, and those fans are going to be different, and those fans are going to have a chip on their shoulder. And when game time comes and things are on the line, and these fans are going to be the ones that the players want. These fans are going to be the ones that are being in its own right a 12th man in this little 3D, arena-sized football. That's what it looks like. I don't know if you guys, remember or not remember, excuse me, if you guys saw or witnessed, or even got to be there, but that field is big. It's definitely bigger than arena football, and it's not as close, obviously, because the fans are, like, right there, but it is damn near, like, a better arena football. Like, I think arena football would be better in that setting, where you're kind of off the players, but you're still really close, and you're still really on top of each other. So that to me is huge too. I love, even though I'm not in a good spot, being able to see them perfectly, being able to see all the players, all the plays. Anywhere you sit in that venue, you're getting a good spot. You're gonna get to see some action, and that's what you don't get to see when you're, 90,000 seats at the Coliseum and you're way at the top and everybody looks like little ants. No, when you're at the StubHub Center, you get to see everybody, and those players get to see you, and those players get to see the fans that matter, and those people, those players get to see the fans that stuck with them. And it's going to be a different energy for the first time. To me, this is like how everybody views the Conor McGregor and Mayweather fight. And everybody's hating on Conor McGregor, and everybody thinks that he doesn't stand a chance, and everybody thinks that he should never have done this. And it's kind of the same situation. But if people don't realize is that Conor McGregor is a different animal. And I think the Chargers are a different animal. I think the stadium is a different animal. And that's going to make things awkward for Mayweather because Conor is different. If you talk to Paulie, the guy that got hit, that claimed that he had gotten pushed, but if you watch that video, Conor knocked him down. And they kind of asked Paulie, what are the reasons, or how does he fight? Is it weird? And he said, yes, it's awkward. He fights different. He doesn't fight in boxing stances. He doesn't fight like a boxer. He fights like a taekwondo, stance type of guy. He moves weird, and because he moves weird, it makes him move weird because he feels awkward in the way that he's moving around. It's not normal for a boxer. It makes Paulie change his game, and that may happen with Mayweather. That may happen to where he's not comfortable. He doesn't know what he's doing. Conor's going to be doing, and so that's going to throw him off his game. And I think it's going to be sort of the same way at the StubHub Center. People are not going to be used to 30,000 fans right in their face, right in their, anywhere you're at, you can easily yell at one of the players and they will hear you no matter where you're sitting, pretty much. Obviously, the last of the last, you're going to be harder to hear. But it all, like they said, some of the players said, it looks like 3D. It looks like they're right in your face. and that's going to have, that's going to be hard for an offense to deal with all these fans just being right up in your ear. Most stadiums, have a flat surface as they go out. They start obviously at the field, but they kind of like flatten out and then they rise up. Well, with this field, it's kind of like a vertical seating arrangement. So I think it's pretty cool. I'm excited for game day, for real game day, for regular season game day. And I don't know about you guys, but I'm going to get it pumped up. I'm going to get intense. I feel bad for whoever I sat next to because they must be thinking like, man, this is just preseason. This guy is freaking yelling. He's obnoxious. I remember some Cowboys fan was there and he was screaming, Cowboys. And I was just tired of it. I was like, they suck. Cowboys suck. And I was like, there's these two ladies next to me and they're just like, oh, man, like freaking out like, oh, shoot. Like, and then, you got all the proper fans. But hopefully those will be filled with screaming, diehard, Charger fans that get amped up. And whoever's watching this, you guys need to come out. You guys need to be there. You guys need to show your support. Now's the time. Now is the time. I know there's a lot of conflict. I know that everybody wants to talk crap. But now's the time to show up, show out, and show everybody that the Chargers aren't done. They're just getting started. This is a new era, and I know it doesn't mean anything that it's a different city, but it has a different feel. It feels different this year. You got new coaching staff altogether. Anthony Lynn, number one, 3 out of 5 years he led his team to number one in rushing yards, number one in rushing touchdowns, and number one in rushing yards per average. 3 out of 5 years. 2 of them were last year and the year before. So, and that was with a subpar offense. We have a dangerous offense this year. We're going to be able to pass the ball. We're going to be able to run the ball. And to segue into how I felt about preseason, yes, we got blown out. I believe it was 48-17. But come on, it's preseason. The year that we went to the Super Bowl, we were 0-4 in preseason. 0-4. So I really don't understand how year in and year out everybody has to explain that preseason doesn't mean anything. The only thing that means anything, in my opinion, and the only thing that really should mean anything to anybody is the first team offense and defense versus the other team's first team offense and defense. You should be watching that. You should be paying attention to that, evaluating that, overseeing that. Not what's going on in maybe a little bit of second string just to see who the backups are, but third string and fourth string, like, come on, why are we even talking about that? Like as if most of those guys are even going to see, and most of those guys aren't going to make the practice squad. Like, they should just cut it off. To me, they should just make it to where it's 2 preseason games. You have one that's 100%. Brand new guys, get that one out of the way. All third string, second string, third string, have them play for the one preseason game, and then the next preseason game, have your guys on the first string play. Maybe a couple drives, maybe a full quarter, and then be done with it. You'd cut down on injuries, on unnecessary injuries, on injuries that are pretty much in vain. Because, now your guys are out, and now they're not getting training, and now they're not, getting practice time and all that. So, for one, I think the NFL needs to change that. They need to make it to 2 preseason games, if you ask me. What was I saying? Okay, so yeah, first team offense, first team defense. I don't know how many of you watched it, but I thought our first team offense looked great. Now, I know it was only one drive, and I know it was the first drive, but we looked great. I would say the only bad thing that happened was Phillip Rivers underthrew a pass to Tyrell Williams. And, yes, that could have been picked. But, that's going to happen when your quarterback is coming up, to 40 years old pretty soon. So you kind of got to give him some of that leeway here and there. And I'm not making an excuse for it because I definitely don't want to see that during the regular season, him underthrowing or overthrowing. But to me, he's still dead on accurate. The play right afterwards, he throws a bullet pass right down the plane to Travis Benjamin. So his accuracy is still on point. His arm power, I feel like he's struggling with a little bit, but it's preseason week 1. He's going to have a chance to get that out of him. You know, there's games where last year he had a rough time overthrowing and underthrowing, but there are games where he was just on point no matter what throw he makes. So I'm not too worried about that. I don't think you should be worried about that. I just wanted, you know, I like to be objective and say both sides for the sake of being objective. So, but the good parts that I recognized for our first team offense is Melvin Gordon. Even though the Seahawks defense is really good at run stuffing, he had some good runs. He didn't have any breakout runs, but what do you expect? You know, first drive, you're just, you know, feeling it out, whatever. You haven't played for months and months and months. So that's obviously, you know, the reason why. He had a couple 4-yard rushes, and that's good. That's what you need. Obviously, those 4 yards, those short yardage runs that he made, tough 4-yard runs against a brutal, you know, Seattle trench defense, you know, so anyway, those runs by the offensive line, they did a good job. They all, you know, they all pushed, they all pulled, they all did what they had to do. Seattle's defense is pretty good. But with that said, if you watch the offensive line during pass plays, they did not let anybody get at Phillip Rivers. They did not let anybody get within a couple yards of Phillip Rivers. There was maybe one play where a guy got close as, you know, as a last attempt dive, you know, as he was going down. But the offensive line looked clean, and that's without Forrest Lamp. They kept Phillip Rivers, I would say, completely clean. I don't even think he went down. So that tells me right there that we're already looking a little bit better. Our offensive line kept guys back. Against the Seattle defense, they kept guys back. They gave Phillip Rivers adequate amount of time, at least 3 seconds, to throw some clean passes to Hunter Henry for 17 yards. That was his first pass that he threw ever by an LA Charger, by the way, in NFL history. And then he threw, like I said, that bullet pass to Travis Benjamin for a first down. I think it was 3rd and 9. And then, obviously, marched down the field. Melvin Gordon made Richard Sherman look a little silly when he juked him, you know, for an extra couple 3-4 yards and made Richard Sherman fall to the ground. So that was kind of embarrassing for Richard Sherman. Felt good for me, though. And then, like I said, continue down the field pleasantly, you know, monotonously, like I like to see them do. Had some good plays, clean plays. The rushing game was a little bit different in the red zone. Obviously, they had some stuffs, you know, because it's the red zone, and they're going to play on the run game. So that's a given. Brandon Oliver looked very good. Brandon Oliver had a nice little, at least 10-yard pickup on a screen pass. So I like to see, you know, that they're using Brandon Oliver efficiently. And then Brandon Oliver had a nice, I want to say, 5-6 yard run. So he looks good. I'm excited to see him back. I'm excited to see him healthy. So, yeah, man, I couldn't have asked for a better first drive, a better first preseason drive for offense. Phillip Rivers went 5 for 6, I believe 56 yards, 1 touchdown. Got to the end of the field. A classic tight end, you know, Phillip Rivers to Antonio Gates touchdown. I thought that didn't get enough credit. I thought that should have been the title for all articles written about the first preseason game, that the Chargers marched downfield on Seattle's defense, scored a touchdown with Antonio Gates, who's getting ready to break the record. But for the most part, you just get Chargers lose embarrassingly, or Chargers had an embarrassing debut, and it's like, come on. Like, what do you expect out of a first preseason game? The media did not talk about how good their offense did on their first drive. They did not talk about how good the defense did on their first drive. You know, Joey Bosa and Melvin Ingram were getting back there on every play. If it wasn't for the fact that Russell Wilson is great at getting rid of the ball quickly, great at evasion, Joey Bosa and Melvin Ingram probably would have had a sack each. They were, you know, all in on Russell Wilson, and Russell Wilson just got the knack for, you know, throwing out quick passes, getting out that quick release. Otherwise, I think they would have been in some trouble. They managed to stop them. They got downfield, I want to say close to the red zone, and, you know, got a third down stop. Jatavis Brown, I think, chasing down Russell Wilson before he, you know, could get the first down, and that caused a field goal. And to me, that defensive drive, even though it started off a little shaky, they came out and they made a big stop. So that's 7-3 right there. If the game ended right there, that's 7-3. Now, obviously, you can't at the same time look too much into it, but Keenan Allen looked good. He didn't catch any passes, but I was watching him. His footwork looks good. He doesn't look like he's scared to injure himself. He doesn't look like he's fragile. I mean, I don't know if you saw him going after Rams players and taking bounties on Rams heads, but this guy did not give a shit about nothing and just straight up, you know, body slammed one of the players on the Rams team. So I think he looks good. I think that he's back to his old self. And as one NFL, you know, analyst said, I think he might lead the league in receptions. I think he might just go out there and just have a crazy year. You know, Phillip Rivers likes to play favorites when guys are on fire. So he will get the ball. There's no doubt about it. He started off game one 6 for 6, 69, 67 yards in the first half. So I'm looking for him to do the same thing. Nobody's talking about that. Nobody's talking about Keenan Allen possibly having one of the biggest years that he's ever had and possibly dominating the league. Nobody's talking about that. They want to talk about 21,000 people. They want to talk about 48-17 on week 1 of the preseason. I don't know about you guys, but I'm tired of it. I'm tired of seeing everybody talk crap on the Chargers. I'm tired of seeing nothing but negativity when nobody was talking like this when the Rams came. The Rams came from St. Louis. The Rams have been, you know, worse renters than I've been. They've been to so many different stadiums, so many different cities. It's ridiculous. The Chargers go from L.A., go to San Diego, which is 2 hours away, and then decide to come back because they can't get a stadium built, and everybody wants to hate on them and hate on the fans too and hate on the players. The players and the fans don't got nothing to do with what happened. But be damn sure if they're getting nothing but fire from you, they're going to spit fire back. And I'm, you know, one of them. If I hear you talking nothing but nonsense, not even like give me facts, give me reasons why the Chargers aren't going to do good. And for the most part, you can't find any other than we have, you know, obviously all teams have their kinks here and there. That's a given. Everybody knows that. But the Chargers are pressed to make one of the best years that they've had in possibly a decade. They're looking to go back to the playoffs after, a couple years not being there? And everybody wants to throw them onto the sideline like they haven't done anything. They had 2 bad years. 2 bad years. The Raiders have had over 10 bad years, and everybody is giving them the benefit of the doubt. I don't know why. They had 9 games last year that were decided by one possession. You take half of those games away, take 4 of them away, and you're talking about a different team. You're talking about an 8-8 team. If you take away 4 of those wins, you know, some of them coming, you know, they're lucky, man. And I would say they're just as lucky as we were unlucky. But you take half away from them and half from us, and we're right around the same team. We're a fake 5-11 team. There are so many games that we should have won that, unfortunately, to me, Mike McCoy had a big part to do with that. Now, some may say, oh, it's not his fault they got injured. Obviously not. It's not his fault that they had bad luck and they did stupid things. As much as it was on the players, some of those losses and a lot of those losses, it comes down to the coach. It comes down to the culture that the coach provides. It comes down to the way that he holds players accountable, the way that he treats players while he's on the field, in the locker room, in class, in film. So to me, he's given them a lackadaisical feel. And he's made it to where players are not delivering on late game situations, and that's big. And I don't think Anthony Lynn is the type of guy that's going to let that happen. I don't think he's the type of guy that is going to let inconsistency and inefficiency and the opposite of excellence fly. And he's kind of shown that so far. He doesn't sugarcoat things. He's talked to the media already, talked to reporters, and he's not a wishy-washy, let things go kind of guy. And Mike McCoy was like that. He didn't have the fire that you need. He didn't. I don't know if he played. I don't remember if he played in the NFL, but Anthony Lynn has played in the NFL, and he knows what it's like to be a player. McCoy was a quarterback? Okay. Well, maybe Mike McCoy does know how to be a quarterback, but maybe he was like Jay Cutler and didn't say much. Okay, there you go, backup. So, yeah. So, I don't know, man. I didn't feel it with Mike McCoy. I thought he was a good coach. I thought he was smart. I thought he did, he's very fundamentally sound. But when it came to making really smart decisions and having deceptive plays and being more than one-dimensional, to me, he was not that. Too conservative, way too conservative. So I like Anthony Lynn, and I think he's going to bring a different culture this year, and I think L.A. is going to bring a different culture this year. L.A. is a place where you cannot be a loser. In San Diego, as much as everybody loves San Diego, as much as I love San Diego is a very kickback place. And that's not a knock on San Diego. San Diego is a very chill, very relaxing, very kickback type of place. And I don't know if they, as a city, really care. Exactly. They don't care. They don't hold their team accountable. Other than not showing up. And to me, that's a shitty way of showing accountability. But to me, LA is a different culture. LA just breeds success. It's done that with teams. It's done that with companies. It's done that with actors. It's done that with models. It's done that with athletes. It's done it with all different types of life. And as awesome as San Diego is, arguably one of the country's finest cities, if not the finest city. But as far as producing winners, when was the last time you saw the Padres in the World Series? Other than right before you built them a stadium and screwed the Chargers. When was the last time? LA has 16-time world champions with the Lakers. Multiple champions with the Kings. Multiple championships with the Dodgers. Multiple championships with UCLA. The culture is different, and it's always been different. And if you come to LA and you don't put it all out there and you don't give 100%, it will spit you back out. That's with regular people. That's with franchises. That's with everybody. If you do not produce, it will not love you back. And that's something that the Chargers know now. And that's something that the Chargers are going to have to be different on. And I honestly think that Anthony Lynn is that guy. I think that Gus Bradley is that guy. I've heard nothing but good things come from players about Gus Bradley. I think he's going to make the defense way simpler for Joey Bosa and Melvin Ingram. I think he's going to get the best out of Casey Hayward and Jason Verrett and Jaleel Addae. Nobody gives enough credit to Jaleel Addae, but that guy is a monster. He needs a little bit of help on coverage, but if you are in his sights, he will blow you up. I don't know how many of you saw that LA commercial. I'm sure everybody did, including ex-fans who probably cried themselves to sleep after watching that video, especially of LT saying, "Fight for LA." But Jaleel Addae looks jacked. That guy looks like he has been training. And so does Denzel Perryman. Rest in peace, Denzel Perryman. Not rest in peace. You're going to be back week 4, hopefully, week 6 at the latest. But Denzel Perryman, Jaleel Addae, they look jacked. They look like guys I would not want to be hit by. So, I mean, you're talking about possible fumbles. You're talking about possible – I mean, he had his first interception last year, took it all the way back to the house. So I'm looking for Jaleel Addae to look a little bit different here. Hopefully the rest of the safety unit, comes up with him. But I'm excited. I'm excited to see what we do, and I wish more people were excited. But guess what? I'm okay with being the chip on the shoulder fan. I've said it before. I'm okay with having to be that fan that fights back, that gives my opinion on things, that gives you reasons and actual evidence to why I feel the way I feel. I'll be that guy. I'll be that hard-nosed, and I hope that the players take that same hard-nosed attitude, that take that same, hard-nosed feel, and they take it out on the field, and they use it as fuel, and they use it to power themselves and to take it that extra yard and take it that extra step. I hope they use it, and I hope that the rest of the fans out there give them that energy and give them that power. And if we do that, I'm telling you guys, we could have a monster season, and we can shock everybody. And if you're telling me we can't, you're telling me we can't because we were 4-12 one year and 5-11 one year. The Cowboys were 4-12 the year prior, and they made the playoffs. And you're telling me that the Chargers can't do the same thing if we stay healthy? I mean, once again, I could be wrong, but I don't know. And there it is. See? Poor Richard didn't see it coming, wasn't ready. If the Chargers can manage to stay healthy, and I don't know if you can go ahead and be down 20 guys one season and be down 20 guys the next season. If they can do that, that's pretty hard. So I'm hoping that if we can keep at least 10 of our stars in, and yeah, we have at least 10 stars. If we can keep 10 of these key players, Keenan Allen, keep our offensive line, Phillip Rivers, Melvin Gordon, Joey Bosa, Melvin Ingram, Jatavis Brown. If we can keep these core guys healthy and keep at least our second string healthy, because last year, most people know, even our second string wasn't healthy. Our second string had injured reserves. We had third string guys out there, fourth and fifth string running backs. If we can do what we did with those guys, oh my gosh. Everybody wants to talk about preseason again, back to preseason. Kellen Clemens. Kellen Clemens is nowhere close to Phillip Rivers. Phillip Rivers and Kellen Clemens are eons apart. I mean, what does LeBron James's backup look like? You're expecting guys, for one, to have a Hall of Famer at quarterback and then have possibly one of the worst backups. And people don't like when I talk about Kellen Clemens, but the guy is boring. The guy is he's weak to watch. I mean, if anything, that's probably why people didn't want to watch preseasons, because of Kellen Clemens, because they knew he was going to be playing most of the time. But if you look at the distance between how good Kellen Clemens is and how good Phillip Rivers is, it's not even close. If you're looking at how good Joey Bosa is compared to his backup, it's not even close. If you look at how good Melvin Gordon is and Brandon Oliver and Danny Woodhead were last year, their backups aren't even close. Keenan Allen to his backup, well, not his backup, Tyler Williams and Travis Benjamin, Dante Ullman are good. But you put Keenan Allen and then put in somebody like, some no-namer, it's not even close. You take Antonio Brown and his backup. Take Julio Jones and his backup. It's not even close. So obviously it's preseason, and if you don't have those guys out there, it's going to go from an A-plus team to a C-plus team in one series. So that didn't surprise me. It didn't surprise me that we went out there and got blown out. But what does it mean? So what? We didn't show everything we had. Preseason, you don't show you don't give other teams the ability to have film on you in preseason. But I don't know if you guys noticed, we had some different sets out there. We had Melvin Gordon sitting out on the side being a wide receiver. That was a different look. I don't remember seeing that with Mike McCoy. I don't remember seeing Melvin Gordon out blocking Hunter Henry before. Those things matter. The deception matters. The being the opposite of one-dimensional is crucial, especially in the fourth quarter. You can, and this was my problem with the way that we ran the offense last year, is we would go down the field, score in the first half, and then we would have nothing for the second half. You cannot do that against teams like Denver. You cannot do that against teams like Oakland and Kansas City. And you cannot do that against teams like the Saints and other teams of high caliber. You can't. You cannot have the same plays that you did in the first half and have them in the second half. And when you're having to win a game and you've showed them everything that you have already, you cannot have nothing in your back pocket. You cannot have, I don't know, New England always has trick plays. I've literally seen them throw to Phillip Rivers. When was the last time you seen anybody throw the ball to, Tom Brady? They were throwing the ball to Tom Brady. When was the last time you seen them throw the ball to Phillip Rivers? Not saying that that's a great idea, but the fact that they're always switching it up. Throwing TDs to offensive linemen. Like, you have to shake it up. You cannot just be this, typical, predictable offense late in games. And I really hope that Anthony Lynn is different in that aspect, because unfortunately I haven't gotten to see him yet. You'll see them week one, how they handle fourth quarter situations, and hopefully they do it better than last year. But I think now that this team is solid, they're foundational, they've been built. Tom Telesco built this team. So to me, they're going to be looking way better than they did last year. If they stay healthy, we'll have tons of young talent. 3 2-year guys that are monsters. Hunter Henry being one of them. Melvin Gordon being a 3-year monster. Perryman, once he comes back, a 3-year. Joey Bosa, a 2nd year. You got this entire team is filled with young up-and-comers. And if the people would just give these guys a chance and stop being so negative. People, suck it up, whatever. Who cares what everybody else thinks? But at the same time, it gets old. It gets old when you start to feel like everybody is against the team. And one might say, what does that matter? But it does matter, because you are painting this team in such a negative light that any chance that they have of getting new fans, of getting fans, generational fans that are going to be growing up, you lessen that chance. And some might say, well, that's the point. Raiders fans don't want Charger fans. Ex-Charger fans don't want Charger fans. They're hoping for these teams to fail. But I think that is unfair, and I think that is just plain wrong. It's not just wrong to Dean Spanos. It's wrong to the fan base. The fans, once again, have no part in what happened. There are fans from L.A. There are fans from Orange County. There are fans from the Inland Empire. There are fans in Barstow. There are fans everywhere. There are fans in Las Vegas. There are fans in Arizona. There are fans all over California. And it is unfair to put out this type of crap and not give the Chargers a chance, and at least the same chance that they gave the Rams. The fan base doesn't deserve what the media dishes out. The fan base doesn't deserve what the ex-fans dish out. It is not their fault what happened, and they're just being supportive and loyal of their team. Now, I'll say it again. I understand where San Diego fans come from, and this is going to be an issue for at least the next couple of years. But lay off or join up. And no one's going to hate you if you become a Charger fan again. But I think this crap's got to stop. And you can listen to me or you can tell me to screw off. That's cool too. But I'm going to give my opinion because it needs to be said. With that said, bolt up, man. Thank you for watching. That's going to be it for today. I really appreciate you guys watching. Please like, please share, please comment, please send me a message. Tell your friends. This episode was also brought to you by ChargersPartyBus.com. If you need information, look up the website. Good friend of mine owns the business, does great tailgate parties, low prices. Come have fun. It's going to be a good time. Can't wait for the rest of the season. I can't wait for preseason to be over so that we can get on with the real stuff. And I'll be watching the game tomorrow, and I'll hopefully have some more analysis on the first team offense and defense next time on Bolt Up with Ernesto Vega. Thank you for watching.